everybody. We're here with Dr. Susan Murphy and Chen, is that right, Yen? Am I saying that correctly? Okay, good. And we're just here, we're going to talk about their role in the scleroderma program at Michigan Medicine. So first I'm going to ask Dr. Murphy to introduce herself and tell us about your role with scleroderma program.
Thanks for having me. I'm Susan Murphy. I'm an associate professor in the physical medicine rehabilitation department. And I've been working for the last few years with Dr. Khanna and some colleagues in rheumatology in the scleroderma program, specifically on rehabilitation clinical trials and other treatments for people with scleroderma. So kind of the non-drug treatments. We have looked at solutions for hand rehabilitation and have developed some solutions for people that can't come into the clinic for treatment. We have very good treatments for hand rehabilitation, and we have evidence that shows it works in some smaller studies, and we're going to be doing some larger studies or trying to do some larger studies across sites to see how that works for people. So we have things where people come into the clinic and work with occupational therapists and do things like stretching and hand mobility exercises and paraffin wax dips and heat. And we have some other devices that we use. We also have an app that provides really some nice exercises as well that people really enjoy. And our hope is to do some telehealth with that, so people won't have to travel in to clinic for treatments. And we just found in an initial study that this app treatment over time works about as well as the in-person treatment. It kind of levels off over time. So we saw over about an 18-week period that people ended up at about the same spot in improvement with their hand mobility from objective and self-reported measures as if they were coming to in-person clinic, because after people get a lot of gains from in-person treatment, but then it tends to level off if you don't do exercises by yourself at home for your hand. So the people that started off with the app just got better over time because they kept doing it. So that was very interesting for us. And it makes us kind of think about how we deliver interventions. And it's good news because scleroderma is rare, that we could potentially reach more people with an app-delivered intervention and have a therapist check in through Zoom or online with people and potentially reach more people, give more people access to care.
That's awesome. I just got to say, that's awesome. Thank you.
It's because good news for patients, isn't it?
It is, because when I was diagnosed with scleroderma, I went to a physical therapist by my house here, which is away from, I'm about an hour away from Ann Arbor. And unfortunately, he didn't know what to do for scleroderma. And he had me doing all these wrong things that I was told later that he shouldn't have had me do. But so can you imagine if I had an app? That would be awesome, because it was hard for me to drive an hour, to go do occupational therapy.
Well, and it's a good point that you bring up too, is that there's not a lot of specialists in the rehab community for people with scleroderma. So part of what we're doing is working with people that have worked with patients with scleroderma for a very long time and present nationally and really are leaders within our disciplines in rehabilitation. So the research that we do for the in-person treatment provides a protocol and treatment manual that can be used by anyone. So we're showing people how to treat people with scleroderma because most people that don't work at a specialty center may see 1 to 2 people in their whole career with this disease. So, it makes sense that they don't know what to do, but they need tools. And that's what we're trying to provide resources and tools that we can disseminate through professional organizations that people can access So the professionals have evidence-based tools to use.
That's awesome. Mary, can I also want to brag about Dr. Murphy, because the one thing you didn't mention that's near and dear to our hearts is that we actually have Dr. Murphy as a lead staff for the Peer Mentor Program. And it's done so much good for us, because it's really hard as a patient to lead a project, because Mary and I, we put our heart and soul into the peer mentoring program, but still we couldn't do it without Dr. Murphy, because our energy level, really ebbs and flows. And not that yours doesn't, Dr. Murphy, but we are blessed to have you leading that team as a staff member. And that was huge for the program this year, I thought. So thank you for that.
Oh, well, I don't want this to be a love fest, because it might be, because you guys have been fantastic. And I think the benefits for us of being so involved, other than just being able to develop friendships and relationships with the community that we care about, is for our research. Like we want to do research that is important and relevant to people. And often when you don't treat people clinically, like I'm not in the clinic treating people, I'm a researcher. I want to know what issues are bothering people. I want to work on research that is important to people. And so I direct a postdoctoral fellowship training grant that's about what we call participatory research. So it's community engaged research. And that's my segue into why Chen is with us. She started working as a fellow on our grant, and has been a wonderful addition to our team in every respect, but has also taken up some causes and what we can do together, having more of us to work on issues that are important to people with scleroderma and finding effective holistic kinds of treatments. It only helps. So we've been trying to get a workforce built up, and right now it's Chen and I, but in the future it could be more, as we try to get more people excited about scleroderma and helping to improve quality of life and treatments.
Chen, can you tell us about yourself and your role and what you're doing with Dr. Murphy?
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, Mary and Sherry. And hello, everyone. So my name is Chen. I am really happy to be here, and thank you for the invite. So I am currently a postdoc, research fellow working with Dr. Susan Murphy. And then I am also a health behavior researcher. So before I came to U of M, I did my doctoral training in health behavior and health education at the University of Texas at Austin. So my research focuses on health behaviors like physical activity and sedentary behavior, and how those health behaviors can influence people's cognition, like memory, brain fog, or sleep quality and the quality of life. So I am the newest team member in Scleroderma program, and so I'm helping out with several research with Dr. Murphy, like a Renew, and then also the gaming machine project. Like we wanted to see if the gaming machine could improve people's hand functions, and also right now my focus is on this big cognition brain fog projects, and then we can talk a little bit about the brain fog project later. So when we start introducing this project, and I think the most important thing for me as a team member in this scleroderma program is to find ways to help people with scleroderma manage their symptoms and to improve their physical and psychological well-being. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, because it's so true. Even we don't often think about the psychological part of it. I mean, so thank you for helping us with that. And not only that, but the dreaded brain frog. See, I call it frog. That's how messed up my brain is.
We're not cuckoo and out there. She's going to prove that we have a good problem in our brain called fog.
Yeah.
Let you know about the Renew program, which I think people are starting to hear about. but Dr. Khanna and I just received a grant from the Rheumatology Research Foundation to do a large trial of our web-based resilience-focused intervention to help improve energy, fatigue, and pain in people with scleroderma. So we spent quite a lot of time with Mary and Sherry and other peer mentors in helping us put together stories that can help show strategies that work for managing symptoms. So we take what is known in the literature, kind of evidence-based cognitive behavioral strategies, and we have integrated that with anecdotes from people and pictures and stories and personal experiences on this website. So if you ever take the Renew program, you probably will recognize a lot of people because over 20 people from our program participated in the creation of that. We're doing a small study right now, and we're doing the larger study starting in the summer. We also have a grant to develop an app where you could access the whole content from an app. And we're working with other people from the Scleroderma program to make the app usable given hand limitations or any changes with scleroderma that would affect your ability to use the app. So we're really have the user of people with scleroderma in mind, taking into account hand limitations and also how you'd like to track behaviors, use the app or the website. And the other really cool feature that I'm so excited about is that we have peer mentors that are trained as health coaches. And if you have been exposed to Renew, you have seen Mary or Sherry because they are trained health coaches in the program and are gonna also be health coaches going forward with another person that will be helping us too. And these people call weekly or biweekly to check in and to provide support. And this is really a cool model that could be applied to other specialty centers around the country. It's been viewed very positively by people that are taking the program. They like having a health coach and having a health coach that also shares some lived experience with the disease, what we felt would be really important, because it's a little more meaningful when you're talking to Sherry or Mary about how they've overcome a challenge than perhaps me, who doesn't have the same kinds of, I mean, we all have our challenges, but definitely specific challenges for scleroderma. And it's nice to talk to people that have found solutions. Because people with scleroderma are very creative and they find a lot of good solutions for problems.
You guys explained to us about this biorepository project at University of Michigan, because honestly, I got to say, I don't really understand all of it.
The biorepository is really a tremendous opportunity to figure out how to better manage the disease, treat the disease, and even cure it. Like, we need good data to be able to understand how this disease works. And what the biorepository would do is provide a place where we can store all of this information from everyone and figure out, what is the differences in how people respond to treatments, how, did the diffuse and limited subtypes, how does that weigh into it? Are there other kind of phenotypes or groups that are important that we should be looking at? And so it would give us such a wealth of information, physiological, biological information that that research can really probably ramp up their efforts in finding a cure. So it's very, very important to get this kind of data where we can ask really important questions of the data. And even for the stuff that Yen and I do that are more holistic treatments, we can target treatments a little better if we understand how these different groups of people respond to disease. So that's a very layman's terms way of saying it's just very different kinds of information that can really allow for faster progress.
Yeah, and it's so important because it's true. Even between me and Sherry, we have scleroderma, but we have it so differently. So you need all to get this data from all of us because it affects us so differently. Wouldn't you say, Sherry?
Absolutely. I mean, the biorepository is what you're talking about, and that's what is hard for us to explain to people what this project is about. But I think Dr. Murphy did a great job summing it up. It's really, if we ever want to find a cure for this deadly disease, this is the path that we have to follow. And that was the missing piece of the University of Michigan Scleroderma Program. We need that little piece that actually is a large expense and whatnot, but that little piece needs to be plugged in so that you guys can do the research that truly will make a difference in our lives.
I think we're very lucky to be at the University of Michigan. I feel I've been here for over 20 years in research and rehabilitation research, and the scleroderma program is the first place where I feel like we have all the pieces together. Like we have the people that we need. We have discipline. We have an interdisciplinary group that works together and is asking questions that really can advance care. And I feel very fortunate to be part of this team because I think we all bring something different, and it's only going to help patients in the end. We all care about patients and have a different way of viewing how we can help them. And we have basic scientists here all the way through what we do, which is very much on the holistic quality of life end. And we need all of those people in the room to answer these important questions.
Hey, Yen, you got excited about when we talked about brain fog. Will you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing there? Because it's exciting stuff.
Awesome, great. So, like I say, I am the newest team member. I just joined this scleroderma program about like 6 months ago. So when I started joining our weekly scleroderma peer mentor meetings, and sometimes during the meetings, patients start complaining about their memory, and then they forgot what they were going to say, or it's hard for them to concentrate. And then these cognitive problems are not well addressed by their health providers, and it's very problematic to their daily life. Then Dr. Murphy suggested, why don't we start a research project that specifically looks into brain fog in scleroderma and to see how the brain fog affects patients' life. So now, like, to be able to better understand cognition and brain fog, we will first conduct several focus groups. So where we can meet virtually with people and talk about their brain fog or any cognitive issues and how those problems will impact their everyday life. So we are hoping to start recruiting our people at the end of this month. And so if you see the email subject line says research in brain fog, please participate, and or you can just leave your comments below and we will contact you.